If there's anything that can make a business stand out in its industry, it's the way it cares for its customers. And nowadays, it's a distinguishing factor in how you stand out as a business owner. Some people might even say that customer service might be even more important than the product you deliver itself. I don't know if you agree with that, but today in the Waist Up Wardrobe Studio, I'll be talking to the author of Crushing the Competition with Service, who will tell us how he's done that in his industry and how he's crushed the competition by service, elevating service alone. But you know the drill. If you want to hear what he has to say, you're going to have to stick around to find out. Welcome to Waist Up Wardrobe. I'm Christine Vartanian, an attorney turned personal style expert and image consultant. As the founder of Jade House of Style, I am passionate about unveiling the inner confidence of my clients by developing their personal style and dressing them for success. But is getting dressed up still important in our virtual world? Well, that's where my experience can help with what I call Waist Up Wardrobe. Waist Up Wardrobe is a podcast for all things you need to conduct an outstanding Zoom meeting. It's about how to dress for the camera, but it's not just about the clothes. It's about everything you need to know to show up on brand and professionally for the camera. Join me in the Waist Up Wardrobe studio to discuss how to navigate this virtual world and dominate from behind the desk. Good morning, Waist Up Wardrobe Nation. Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Waist Up Wardrobe. And I just want to remind you that we are on iTunes, where you can go and listen to us if you can't actually watch us. And, you know, if you're strolling down the beach or driving in the car and you wanted to kind of get a little dose of Waist Up Wardrobe, you can find us on iTunes, and you can also rate us and review us. And we really love that. We're also on YouTube, and we're here streaming live every Thursday, religiously, without fail, at 11:30 Pacific time. And we love that you tune in and you give us your comments and have the dialogue with us. That's why we do this live, because we want to troubleshoot those technical difficulties live, because that we get joy out of that, right, Rick? Rick is my producer, who I also want to give a shout out to and say thank you for always making this show go by flawlessly. And we just really appreciate Rick, because he makes this production a real professional production. So thank you for that, Rick. And thank you, Waist Up Wardrobe audience, for always being here to give your comments and listening to us if you can't live on the replay, and giving us your feedback. We grow with the feedback you give us. So we welcome all your questions, your comments, your love, or your constructive feedback. We love all of those things. So I'm not going to talk any more about that. I'm going to jump right into talking about my guest today. And my guest today is Hank Ebeling. He is a sought after speaker and a small business entrepreneur and the founder and owner of H4 Training Gyms. He's built his career on a passion for customer service and customer experience. And today, he helps other small business owners transform their customer service. Hank hosts the popular Success Trails podcast, which focuses on small business owners and their success. Hank recently authored the book, Crushing the Competition with Service, which is available on Amazon. We'll get to talk a little bit more about that as well. But please help me welcome Hank to the show. Hi, Hank.
Hey, thanks for having me. Excited to bring some value to your listeners and hopefully can help their business no matter what they're trying to accomplish and, take to the next level. So always love to talk about my passion and happy to be here, Christine, with both of you guys. So
Thank you, Hank. So is your passion more about helping entrepreneurs really understand a better customer service, or is it more of the fitness industry? And here I'm just going to be throwing some this, that questions at you because I want the audience to get to know who you are first, Hank.
Yeah, no, of course. First, anyone watching, listening, apologize for maybe not the most aesthetically pleasing setup, but I'm on mobile here, so I guarantee you we're going to give you lots of good value. So ignore that part of it. But passion number one is fitness. That's my business. That's my lifestyle. But I love helping other small business owners, entrepreneurs, because that's what we need to do. It's not a normal career, right? We're different people, so we need to help each other support and help each other grow. So I love sharing my passion with service, which is how I help grow my business and still do to this day with others to help them hopefully grow their business the same.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you have that go-giver mentality, and I can't wait to get to know you better. So I'm going to throw out some random questions. Cats or dogs?
Don't hate me, but I'm going to say neither. And it's not because I don't like them, just because I don't want to take care of them. But if I had to, I'll go with dogs.
I totally understand. For 10 years, I did not want a dog despite my children wanting dogs, and I finally broke down and I got 2 dogs, not 1, because I fell in love with the dog. They became my dog. So I totally understand, but I held my ground for 10 years. So that's quite a long time. But I understand because I just didn't want to take care of one more soul, and I didn't want to feel bad that the soul wasn't being taken care of.
100%.
Yeah. So I guess we kind of vibe on that one. So I appreciate that. So tell us something quirky about yourself.
Oh, gosh. Lots of different interests. I guess maybe something quirky. I do kind of love the supernatural, maybe like the funky ghosts, the ET type stuff. You could say that's kind of a little quirky and funky, but I really kind of geek out on some of that sciencey kind of stuff.
Ah, interesting. Interesting. Like movies or just like discovery and like studying it?
Yeah, I think all the above, but especially the discovery. I'm intrigued by not being some brilliant science professor on just space and everything that has to do with kind of that realm. I just find it really intriguing.
Wow. Well, that that is something that's very nebulous to me, I think to many people. So that is quirky. Um, how about if I were to ask you, do you prefer instructing people in group workouts or one-on-one workouts? Which one would you prefer?
So my business, we're all group training, small group training. I've done the one-on-one for 10 years. So I like them both. I would just say small group tends to be a little better just because you can hit more people and you just get the benefits of that group dynamic, that energy that you just can't replicate with a one-on-one setting.
Yeah, yeah. So that's from a trainer's point of view, right? From somebody who is the leader, the instructor. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's too from the individual. There's a lot of people out there that love that one-on-one, but I think most people actually don't want that attention on themselves. They do like the group dynamic, even if they're not a competitive person. Naturally, you're just going to elevate your levels, even if you're not thinking about it consciously, because you're around others. We just, as humans, we're going to elevate ourselves. So I think also the individual likes it better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally from the perspective of somebody who joins these type of things, does these things. I love both. I do both. I like the one-on-one because I want somebody to be nitpicking my form, but I also want that energy that you get to ride off of when you're with other people. I just feel like the harder you work, the harder person next to you works, right? So that's like easy motivation right there.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for giving us a little window into, a little bit more personal stuff. And let's just dive into the meat and potatoes here. We're here to talk about customer service. I've actually done other shows on the customer journey and how important it is. I consider it a suite of your brand. When I help clients with branding themselves, when it comes to their wardrobe, when it comes to their video presence, when it comes to even um, the way their website looks and the colors, but also one of the suites that I work with my clients on is that customer journey and giving your client that sort of that, like I think you mentioned in your bio, that Rolls Royce um, experience, right? So it is a really important thing, and I mean you've written a whole book about it. But why do you feel that focusing on customer service and the customer experience is such an advantage for a small business?
Yeah, I think it's because no matter what industry you're in, I'm in fitness, you're in fashion, you're in the restaurant, you're in landscaping, you're an attorney, you're whatever. It's easy for somebody to kind of take your methods, your techniques, equipment, technology. A lot of people can steal that, mimic, borrow, but they can't take the way that you care about people. They can't.
Oh,
So it's that I want to say I like to call it business superpower that if you can just harness that, it can do wonders for your business. And we all think, none of us think as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, that that's not important. We all agree it's important, but it's just, are you executing and are you prioritizing service day in, day out? That's usually what doesn't happen. Is we know it's important, but then is that the top priority?
yeah. Well, I mean, we know a lot of things, right? But do we do them, right? It's like we know we have to exercise, but do we do it? We know we have to eat right, but do we do it? And it's the same idea. So I completely understand that. And actually, when it comes to customer service, I mean, I've thought about this long and hard because it is very important to me in my business too. Because as a brand strategist, a brand stylist, I feel like it's such a big part of what you offer your client that they might choose you just because you are better a better deliverer to them, right? You deliver the product in a way that feels good, that delights them, that makes them feel like they're important. White glove treatment, that kind of thing. And I think what people miss sometimes, and I'll just ask for your thoughts on this, is that I have found that the best businesses are those that show you how they act when the client has a problem, not just when they're having a great time with the client, right? So we spent all this time trying to hustle and connect with the client to get them to engage and take us up on one of our offers. And we're like, that's like the honeymoon, right? But then sometimes people forget that once they get that credit card, they get paid, then you still have to keep being that person that you were when you were trying to engage them. And so there's that piece, but there's also things happen in business, right? You might have a customer that wasn't a good fit and they're unhappy, and you still have to be gracious about it. And that's where I found the best businesses are. The best businesses are how they handle challenges and problems of the clients. Any thoughts on that or any experiences you want to share?
Yeah, and I touch on that in the book because it's so, I think, vital because it's an opportunity to gain a stronger loyalty from a customer because your business, my business, anyone listening, even if you think you're on top of your game when it comes to service and the experience and you're just one of the best you feel, there's going to be a slip up. We're human, we're not perfect, and the key is how do you recover from it, because you're either going to have opportunity to gain that loyalty even stronger by listening, having empathy, acting appropriately and solving it, or you're going to get all worked up, defensive, make the issue worse, you're going to drop the ball, you're going to do something, and then that just takes something that might be this small little issue and now it just builds and builds and it becomes very negative very fast, and it can really crush you as a business because now instead of flipping it, turning them from angry and upset to a stronger loyal customer, now you just took them way over the top, and from a negative PR, from negative reviews, from them just talking bad about your business, it'll like be lit on fire, right? So it's so crucial to have a plan of how you handle those situations because they're going to come up. It's inevitable. You can't act like nobody's ever unhappy at my business. You're dealing with people, someone's going to slip up, or just your customers are humans as well. They're going to have some problems. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to be ready, and it's important then how you react.
Absolutely. And so that I think has always been the kind of the thing that makes me go, I really, really appreciate this business. You could totally, like you said, use it as a way to get people's loyalty. Because the way they, when somebody says to me, and this has happened, of course, because I am human, has said, well, you didn't respond to my email in a timely way, or my first reaction is if it's true, I'm like, you're right. And I apologize for that. How can I make it up to you? Please allow me to do that. And it's interesting to see people's reactions. It's almost like they're shocked by the reaction. And they're like, wait a minute, how can I get mad at you now? Right? How can I get mad at you if you're owning it? What any thoughts or any experiences like that?
Yeah, for with my business and with some other small business owners I work with, I always teach like a 4-part sequence that anyone can use for their business for handling complaints. And it kind of has to do with what you said, which is one, you just acknowledge it. You're 90% ahead of the game compared to most entrepreneurs and business owners if you simply listen and acknowledge, because most are going to go on defense and get frustrated and you're coming at me in my business. So if you simply acknowledge there's a problem, repeat it back to them, listen, you already won, which is what you're talking about, literally just by doing step one. And then it's apologizing, which you said, okay, no matter whose problem it is, whether it's you or someone else on your team, make it right after that. Step 3, and making it right doesn't always mean give them something free. One of the key crucial things to make it right for a customer is to ask them how it would be, how you can make it right for them. What does that look like? It might not be a freebie. It might just be simply they just wanted the apology, and that was good enough. And you were going to go out and give them $500 worth of merchandise or $200 off a bill or refund them a membership when all they simply wanted was an apology. So ask how you can make it right for them before just jumping to a conclusion. And then last, the probably often missed step would be to thank them. And this is key because without that feedback, without that complaint, how do you get better? How would you know this exists? If they didn't say anything, maybe it just gets bigger and bigger. Maybe you're annoying more customers as time goes on. Instead of one person, it's 20, it's 100, it's 1,000. So always thank them, and that'll definitely catch them off guard because nobody usually expects to be thanked for complaining and being kind of pissed off. So that's something key you want to do is thank them and tell them just that, hey, we can't get better and improve without that type of feedback. So 4-step process, try to use that, simplify things for you, and that way you can be consistent when things come up.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you have it like a capsule encapsulated in a 4-step process because as business owners, we're always trying to build in processes. And I think it's really good, not only for the visionary in a company or the leader of the company, but for you, if you had like a step-by-step process, then you can actually train your team to do that.
Yep.
Because as much as you might be customer centered and wanting to give that white glove treatment, you do have a lot of people working for you sometimes. And how do you then get them to buy into this really amazing customer journey that you want to provide for your clients? And that's a question. I didn't doesn't sound like a question, but it is.
I think, number one, you just touched on it, which is you often hear entrepreneurs, business owners, they'll say, well, when I'm running the show or when I'm in front of a customer, I'm on the phone with a customer, whatever, the level of service, the experience is here. But when Melissa it's here. And when the new guy, it's here. And then this person, that's very inconsistent. The best of the best, Ritz-Carltons, the Nordstroms, the Chick-fil-A's, the Zappos, the Mount Rushmores of service, they don't have those inconsistencies because they've created like a systematic approach. So it really just starts with finding the people that match standards you have set and the vision you have and making sure they align with that. And then when you do have a team and you bring them on, that you're setting the standard from day one and kind of, hey, here's the expectation, making sure it's known, this is what we're about and this is the expectation. A lot of times businesses just jump right into technical, right? Hey, come on board here. This is how you're going to type up an order. This is how you do X, Y, Z. And then the service thing is almost like just treat people really good. Okay. Like, what does that mean? What does that look like? I don't know what that means. And they just jump right into technical part of the job, which is very important. But if you want to have a team that can be like you, if you will, from a service, you have to have a system. You have to teach them standards and you have to hold them accountable to those standards.
Yeah, 100%. So, common mistakes, right? By leaders. What would you say is a common mistake made by leaders when it comes to customer service?
I think it's just not prioritizing for the full, I don't say journey, but the lifetime of the business. So I think what naturally happens is you open a business or you start a business or it gets going. And of course, you're all about service. You're all about everything. You're buttoned up. I got to get my customers. Like, this is new. I'm scared. I got to do everything perfect. And you do generally, for the most part. Business grows as you get busier. You wear more hats. Your team grows. You start to almost fade away from that service, whether it's you just don't prioritize it. You don't have time. You hire people and you don't train them right, and then all of a sudden consistency goes down, and you're farther and farther away from the customer. So I think that's the biggest mistake, is not prioritizing it regularly. And then a big one is just not then modeling the behavior.
Right.
So sure, everyone listening here is probably ate at a Chick-fil-A or at least heard of Chick-fil-A. So their founder, his name is Truett Cathy. He's passed a while now, but what he said was, if you've ever been to a Chick-fil-A, we know what they're famous for besides their chicken sandwich, which is my pleasure. You go there, you hear my pleasure. And he said, the only way I was going to get this across to my team and have it be consistent and part of our culture is if I'm doing it, if they see me doing it on a regular basis, because people learn 10 times greater from watching than they do listening. So just be aware, you as the leader, you can't just bark orders and tell people. If you're not doing what you're asking of them, no chance they're going to do it, and no chance they're going to do it regularly. So it seems obvious. Well, of course I'm going to, model behaviors. But again, as you get bigger and you expand, wear more hats, you tend to not do that. So those are the two big things: is model the behavior and prioritize regularly and consistently.
Yeah. It's like any leader in any role, right? It's like a parent. You want to model the behavior because
Yes.
they're watching you, right? They're watching how you act. Well, so you talk about this, that it's crucial when it comes to onboarding to really allow your team, give them a process. Is there anything else then other than that you would suggest to just kind of ingrain that? I mean, we're leading them by by example, and we're also building in the process that we're training them in. Is there anything else that really can help solidify that for them?
In terms of for like employees.
Yes, for your team members to really feel the to be motivated to do it in the
I
way
think
that.
what we need as humans is we need to have an understanding of what's our role in this. Like what is my role in providing this service? Like what do I have to do with it? Like so I think identifying and letting them know like what their role is and why they play uh, this important piece in delivering service. And I think it also comes from trying to give examples of other people on your team, if you have a team, of what they've done and how they're upholding those standards, because people start to see, okay, well, everyone's kind of like here. I don't want to be, the one below the bar. So if you're constantly showing, like what I like to do is if I see great act of service from my team members, I'm going to text it to our whole team,
Mm,
showing that, talking about it, because I want it always to be top of mind and them constantly being reinforced about the standard and seeing others, their fellow coworkers, upholding those standards. So I think that's a big thing, is keeping it top of mind and showing them what their role is in delivering it.
yeah. I mean, I think all these ideas, because I think as leaders who, if we're aware of how important customer service is, then we are going to implement those things ourselves. But the hardest thing is, how do you get the people that work for your company to buy into that and to actually execute it, right? So you've given us some really great tips here on how to handle complaints, on with your four-step process, on highlighting them, so giving them credit for it in front of the team when they do something great. And this is sort of what's really critical, I think, is not just that that customer service has to be great, but that you train people to do it. And I will tell you, if you're delivering a great customer service, you will stand out as a consumer. If I go to a restaurant and my waiter is amazing, I will tell them, "You were amazing today. You were very attentive," because people forget about how important that is and how important the experience is tied into that customer touch, right? That relationship. You agree?
Yeah, I mean, you know, generally what customers want from you is they want something to actually work, or whatever it is that you have, right? Your service product. So if you sell water, they want the water to taste like water. They want something timely. If you're supposed to, give them the water and within a couple minutes, they want it within a couple minutes. And last, they just want you to simply be nice. I know that sounds cheesy, but those are the three things they want. And the most important thing usually is that last piece. Like, you give me the steak and the steak's really good and it came out on time, but the person delivering it's a jerk, made me feel like garbage. How is that overall experience going to be? It's going to be a negative one, right? Versus maybe the steak was subpar, it came out a little late, but the person that I interacted with made me feel like $1 million. They fixed it. They, flipped the script for me. All of a sudden that experience changes as well. So that's the impact of that aspect of it, like you said, that how you're making them feel.
Yeah. So it brings me to one of my final questions, and I've had this debate over the years. Is customer service more important, or is the quality of the product more important? As people who really care about what they're delivering, we're probably going to say both, but you can't say both. So what is the answer?
I'm gonna say both, but because here's the thing, right? If you sell coffee, you have a coffee shop, and your coffee just flat out sucks, but you deliver great service, and the coffee's just horrible, you're gonna spit it out as soon as you sip it. People might come in because hey, they love how they feel, but they're still not gonna stay, because at the end of the day, they still want coffee. Yeah, they want interaction and they want to feel good, but they still are coming into your shop for that coffee. So they're both important. But yes, the service I still hold in that higher regard, because how often do you probably have heard someone, oh, you always go to that restaurant? like, how good's the food? It's not bad, but I love the atmosphere. I love the feel. I love the vibe there. I love the experience there. But you rarely ever hear anyone say, oh, I go to that restaurant. The food's amazing, but they make me feel like garbage, or it's such a terrible experience, but I just go because the food's awesome. Like that, you don't rarely ever hear. Maybe every once in a while, but it's not that how that usually goes, right? So I'm going to say they're both important. Service, just a little bit more.
Agree. Agreed completely, because obviously we don't want a bad product, but if there's a product that's just a little bit sub than another product, but the service is just amazing, I think I would pick the person that makes me feel better, even though the product is maybe 90% great, and the other product is 100%. So I think that does make a difference. I think we as human beings want to feel good, right? We want to not only, obviously, we pay money for the product, but we also want to be treated well. We wanted to feel like whoever's on the other end appreciates that we're there for them, helping them build their business. That's another thing. So I really, it's a debate. It's always that question always gets people like ask him, like try doing that around table topics and see what people say. But at the end of every show, Hank, we do like a little wrap up, because I want people to be able to take away the nuggets from the show. If there's one takeaway when it comes to this topic that you want people to remember or to implement, what would that one takeaway be?
Yeah, I think it's a mindset, because a lot of this is the mindset. Let's face it, like customer service talk, customer experience. This isn't rocket science. We're not talking technology or physics here, where it's like, oh my gosh, this is such a complex thing. How am I ever gonna do this? It's basics, but it's doing it consistently. So I always like to say, it sounds cheesy, but have the mindset of I'm gonna outcare the competition. Because if you always have that mindset, outcare the competition in everything I do, that's going to help you shape your decisions, help the way you design policies, procedures, how you hire, outcare the competition, and don't think of the customer service as a something soft, right? You hear this all the time. Well, that's soft skills. Think of it as it's an intelligent business strategy. The way you deliver service is basically your marketing. So
Yeah.
use it as a marketing tool, use it as a revenue generator, not a revenue detractor like it is with most businesses. So I know that was lots of things, but if anything, just have that mindset.
Yeah. I mean, you said it's not rocket science, but you know what? I don't think that a lot of people are wired to think about how important that is, because people admittedly sometimes say they're not people per people. They're just, that connection is hard for them. So I think it takes somebody that really understands that they want to put themselves in the other person's shoes, that empathy, that empathy, that I understand why, you felt like we didn't treat you like you wanted to be treated, or we understand that you want us to deliver this to you, and we got your back, right? So I don't think, even though it's not rocket science, I don't think it comes that easily to everybody. So the person in charge of the customer journey, really the leader, has to really be somebody that understands it. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, it starts and ends with the leader. If that leader is not on board, it doesn't matter how great the team is, doesn't matter what systems, strategies you have in place. It's just not going to work, because it starts and ends with that leader. And yeah, you might not be that pure people person, but you at least have to get as close to that as you can, in terms of the mindset, which is, again, it's care first. I got to think of that. Try to avoid the whole, like to say, like, people tend to think of profit first, people second. If you think of people first, and people, I mean your employees and then your customers, when you put them first, the profits come, but you gotta put them first, lead with that, and the money will definitely come. But if you think profits first, money first, you tend not to make decisions that are real people centric in terms of both your team members and your customers.
1,000%. I agree. And I think that, when you really when your focus is really on making people, helping people, and giving them what they came to you for with heart, if you will, the money comes,
Yep.
right? Yeah. Give us a tip or two on if we wanted to, if I was a small business that wanted to improve my customer journey, just one or two tips on how that would be or what those would be.
I'll give you three. One would be the fastest way to just improve your customer service right now. Like literally, give me one thing. Now, I'm not saying you don't ignore all the things we talked about, which is leadership, mindset, hiring, but just one thing right now. Let me change it. I think you brought it up earlier. Is simply just be more responsive. You'd be blown away at how many businesses just absolutely suck at being responsive. And so if you can just simply be more responsive and communicate well, you're ahead of 80% of the businesses before you even worry about anything else with customer service, customer experience. Simply responsiveness, you're blowing people out of the water. So that's tip number one, if you could just do that. Second tip, try to create a service vision. So if I work with other small business owners, that's the first thing we do. I brought up the Ritz-Carlton, I brought up Nordstrom, Chick-fil-A, Zappos, all those businesses, they all have a service vision. It's not a mission statement. It's not core values. It's simply how you want your team to deliver service is what it is. And we don't have time to dive into what that looks like, how to build one. But you need it. It's kind of your beacon of light that leads the way for the team from a service standpoint. You got to have one. So that would be the second tip, is to create one. And then the third tip would be kind of a little strategy or something that you can implement from a systematic, would be borrow from the Ritz-Carlton. I don't know if your listeners have heard of Surprise and Delight. Ritz-Carlton does it better than anyone. And just to be brief with it, it's creating a budget that you have to spend every month to surprise and delight your customers. If you have a team, you got to get everyone on board, always listening and looking for opportunities, and you have to personalize it. So this could be, the example of within my gym, we have a client not having a great day, and we can tell she's kind of a wreck and things are just off. Vividly, I can remember we had this client, she had a presentation, huge presentation for her business. And she comes in, we listen, we understand her day's just kind of going like this. And one of our trainers, okay, hey, we know what we can do here to really change this for her, because it's all about the way someone's going to feel. We go grab her favorite drink from Starbucks. She gets done with her session with us, drinks on the counter with a little smiley face, her name, and that changed her day. In fact, she actually went to Facebook 2 or 3 hours later and posted, like, does your gym do this? Like, they changed my day. I nailed my presentation. So yes, that was a long answer, but that's how you surprise and delight. No
Love
matter
it.
what your business is, you have the budget, get your team involved, and you personalize it. So those are the three tips. That might have been a little bit longer than you wanted, but
No,
there you go.
it was perfect. I mean, like you said, more important thing here is to give the audience value, and this is valuable stuff. I would say, tell us about your book a little bit. Because my next question is, like, give us a tool that consumer or the listener can use to really elevate their customer journey. And I'm gonna guess it's your book, Crushing the Competition with Service. And tell us how we can get that if somebody wanted it.
Yeah, so you can find the book on Amazon. You can find it, you can Google it if you need to, but Amazon's the best way. I do a limited amount, just because with my own businesses, it's hard, of coaching for small business owners and entrepreneurs and how to kind of change it, whether it's one-on-one or also have an online course I actually ended up creating because it was kind of easy to implement with other businesses, kind of like what we've done. But the book, it's kind of what we talked about. I like to call an LTS method. So it's leadership, team, systems, and strategy. So it just kind of teaches you the role of each of those and how that can create that service first culture within your business. So that's kind of what it's all about.
All right, wonderful. And then finally, we end the show with this action item, right? We want to propel people into action. Now they've listened to the show, they've listened to your tips, and they're like, oh gosh, I'm so inspired to do something here. And you talked about the create the service vision. I wonder if could that be an action item? Can you give us a little bit more on that?
Yeah, you know what I would even say the action item before that is I would, after you listen to this, go to your wherever you like to, coffee shop, home, wherever your, spaces that you like to work and brainstorm. And I would just simply do a self audit on your business. And that means if you're a business that has review sites, look up what people are saying. Talk to your team members. Hey, where are we dropping the ball? What are you hearing from customers, especially those of you listening that aren't always out in front of people, aren't on the front lines, maybe more behind the scenes. And then actually talk to your customers. Can you pick up a phone and talk to them? If you have a brick and mortar, can you go physically talk to them? Take in this information and then be, be real and say, okay, where can we improve right now? Like, this is where we want to be from a service standpoint and experience. This is where we're at now. I have to be realistic. And then you can kind of start to move to creating that service vision. But first, kind of do that self audit of your business so you kind of know, okay, this is what needs to get done. Because often, as business owners, entrepreneurs, we think everything's perfect. And we think, well, of course, our service is really good. But is it really? And what are people saying? Because it's about what they think versus your opinion.
Yeah. Well, that's really good advice. And I think it would be wonderful to have you back just to talk about that service vision that we can create. But thank you so much for joining us. That was so valuable. You truly delivered on content. So thank you for being here. One last thing that I'm curious about, what does your t-shirt say?
Oh, this is actually just says stop exercising, start training.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Hank, for being here. Wealth of knowledge. I'm going to go download this. I'm going to be really studying everything that you put forth here. And thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. And there you have it. Waist Up Wardrobe, episode 142 on how to crush the competition with service. And Hank Ebeling, who really kind of encapsulated all the things you can do as a business owner to elevate that customer journey.
Awesome. Sorry for the, again, not the most aesthetically pleasing video and the hassle with the email, but hopefully brought some really good value to the listeners.
No, it was fantastic. It was really, really great. Almost made me want to I wanted to maybe do more, another show just on some of these, pieces that seem like we can expand into. So, but thank you.
I didn't know how much of it, not tangent, but I didn't know how deep of a dive you wanted to go in certain directions. So that's why I was trying to keep it, more surface level.
I thought it was great. And I always get really granular and I try not to get that way, but I really like the detail because that's how we learn. We learn from all the details. Being general is good, but sometimes you kind of got to dig deep, right? So I appreciated the way you responded, and I really appreciated having you and that you rallied to get here. I hope everything's okay. Do you have a new baby or?
We actually have twin boys, identical twin boys that are born in November. They're actually born at 25 weeks. So they were very, very early. They're actually born at 1.5 and 1.3 pounds, and now they're 15 and 14 pounds.
Wow, and they're still in the NICU?
Just one of our boys is. He's just from a lung standpoint is kind of needs some more time. Our other guy's home and he's doing his thing, just missing his bro.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds like they're doing well, and congratulations on the new
Well,
baby.
thank you.
Is
And
it
let me
your
know if you. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Are these your only children?
They are, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you guys are busy probably because twins are not easy, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge, especially going back and forth. So,
Of course.
but
And
let
which
me know
state?
if you need. Let me know if you need anything, show notes or links or anything. I can give you that stuff. Um, Anything you want from that standpoint, just maybe shoot me an email or whoever emails on that stuff.
Sure, sure. And which state are you in?
Outside of Chicago,
Okay.
so
All right.
Illinois.
I'm in California. Okay, because I saw that your area code is different. So, all right. Well, wonderful to have you here, Hank. Thank you for hanging in on for a couple more minutes. I just wanted to be able to say goodbye. And do you have any feedback or how did it go for you other than
No, I think it was smooth. I just feel bad. Sorry for the delay and having the issues with the visuals, but as long as it brought some good value, hopefully that's all that matters. I'll give
yeah,
you a compliment. I think you have a really good radio slash TV slash a good voice. I know it's like a weird
really?
compliment, but you have a good voice.
Really? I really thank you. The only person that told me that is my mother. So she's my mother, and I discounted her opinion because she has to be
No,
nice.
some people just have like a good welcoming, just kind of a good like voice. So I would say, I know it's a weird compliment, but
But
just
thank
give you
you.
that compliment.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, Hank, I hope we can stay in touch. Let me know if there's anything I could do. We'll get you the link if if you wanted to share the information in any way or, just let us know. And we'll stay in touch. Hopefully, maybe we can do another show in the future or something.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. And yeah, if you guys need anything, again, links or things to put in any notes, I'll happy to give you that. Just let me know.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now go take care of your boy and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, have a great day, you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Why didn't you come on?
Okay, I'm back.
Wait, why didn't you
I
come
was
on?
stretching.
You're stretching.
Hmm?
Why didn't you
I'm
come on
stretching.
with Hank?
Huh? Oh, that's your time.
Oh, usually you're on at the end, though.
Only when you ask me to come back.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. It was good, actually.
Yeah, it was good.
I mean, even though we had to like hurry up and get everybody on.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay. You want to do your thing?
Live, right?
Pardon?
That's the beauty of live.
Forces you to
You
think
know,
on your feet.
I remember there was a time I would have been mortified to just shoot from the hip.
I know. I remember.
Yeah, and I mean, it really does doing it really does get you comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. It does. So.
All right. Is my voice
Okay.
really bad for this? But I mean, I feel like my voice is different.
No, it sounded good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. Ready to do your thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There. Okay.
All right. When you're ready.
Okay. Mm. If there's anything that if there's anything that can make a business stand out, it's their customer service. Nowadays, customer service is a distinguishing factor between businesses. But how do you crush the competition but in the way that you deliver your service? Well, I have to do this over again. I didn't really plan that well. Sorry. Okay. So that you can offer great. How to crush the competition. Okay. If there's anything that can make a business stand out, it's how they deliver their customer service, right? That customer journey can make any business more distinguishable in the marketplace than their competitor. But how do you deliver that amazing customer service so that you can crush your competition and stand out as a leader in your field? Good?
Yep, that's good.
Is it not? In episode 142 of Waist Up Wardrobe, Crushing the Competition with Service, the main takeaway is our guest, Hank Ebeling, said that the way he really wants you, let's start over again. In episode 142 of Waist Up Wardrobe, the weekly Waist Up in Waist Up Wardrobe. In episode 142 of Waist Up Wardrobe, the week. It's almost like a tongue twister. In episode 142 of Waist Up Wardrobe, the Waist Up Wardrobe weekly wrap up in a nutshell boils down to this. I'm going to start over again. In episode 142 of Waist Up Wardrobe, Crushing the Competition with Service, the Waist Up Wardrobe weekly wrap up in a nutshell boils down to this. The main takeaway is mindset. You have to adjust your mindset to know that customer service is really important, and then to execute consistent steps to really give great customer service. It's not rocket science, but you do have to be mindful about it. Okay, next I'm going to go on to tips.
Okay.
The number one tip our guests gave us was that you must be responsive to your clients. Did you know that 80% of businesses forget to be responsive to the client? And that really affects the customer journey. The tool to use is to go find Hank Ebeling's book on Amazon called Crushing the Competition with Service and try reading it. Okay, there was a ding, so I'll start over again. Like a notification came in. The tool that Hank Ebeling gave us was his book that is called Hank Ebeling's book, Crushing the Competition with Service, is the tool that he offered you to go on Amazon and find it and maybe start looking at it and perusing it and seeing what in there you can apply to your business. Was that good enough? That last thing I just did?
That sounded kind of weird.
Yeah, it did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, as far as the tool goes, go to Amazon and check out Hank Ebeling's book, How to Crush the Competition with Service. Is that good enough?
Okay.
Yeah. And finally, what is an action item you can do to elevate your service? Go sit down at your favorite coffee shop And finally, what's the main takeaway you need to do to elevate your service? Go find your favorite coffee shop, sit down, and do an audit of your customer journey. What does it look like now? Look at all the reviews you have, study them, talk to your team members, find out how the customers are reacting, and maybe even select 5 customers and ask them what you're doing great and what you could improve. And with that audit, you'll be able to improve that customer service.
Okay.
Good?
Yep.
All right.
That'll
All right.
work.
You want to cut the broadcast?
Yeah.